What's going on, awesome people? I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time. I can't even remember the last time that I did an IG live. Oh yeah, actually I did one this morning with Mariam Aronson. So we're doing it again. And the reason why we're doing a lot more IG lives these days is because we have a lot of awesome people that are awesome ambassadors for the awesome Ozadi Festival happening July 3rd in the nation's capital. And it's my prerogative to make sure that I introduce to you every single one of these amazing Iranians that have been devoting not just the last 8 months or 9 months of their time and heart and soul to being the voice of Iranians, but also recently working together hand in hand to make sure that this epic festival is one that embraces our culture, amplifies the voice of Iranians so that we can continue to keep this fire alive that is the current revolution. We're not going to give up. We're not going to lie down. We're not going to shut up. We're going to continue to be as united as we could possibly be so that we can strengthen this community. And the more strong that we are, the more impact that we can make in the revolution, and just in general, the more impact that we can make in our own community, which then affects our livelihood. Before I get into it and welcome my amazing guest tonight, my dear friend, talented friend, Shaheen Samadi, I would be remiss if I don't take a moment to acknowledge the passing of a legend, of a genius, of one of the most beloved Iranians of our generation. Dr. Firouz Naderi, in case you have not heard, unfortunately succumbed to his injuries that he had just recently, and he passed away today. So it's a very sad day for the Iranian community, and I just want to take a moment to recognize this loss for our community and extend my deepest condolences to his family, his loved ones, his close friends, his fans all around the world. And if for any reason you're watching and you're not familiar with Dr. Naderi, he retired from NASA in 2016 and was a management consultant nowadays ever since retirement, an advisor to early stage high-tech startups, and a public speaker. As I mentioned just a few minutes ago, unfortunately, I believe it was about a few weeks ago, because he was posting on Facebook and Instagram about his injury. He experienced a life-altering event that resulted in a paralysis from the neck down. He sustained a fall in conjunction with a cardiac episode, and as a consequence, he suffered an extensive neck injury that involved damage to the spinal cord. When I was reading his Facebook post, when he was giving the updates, I did not think that this was going to be his fate, and it's just extremely sad that he unfortunately the end was like this. But he will be remembered for a true humanitarian, a great patriot, and somebody that really did whatever he could to advance everything with regards to aerospace and NASA. So much love to him. Rest in power. Ruach and Shad. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I think I want to get right to welcoming my guest, my friend, and ambassador of Ozadi Festival. He is none other than Shaheen Samadi. If you've been following me for long enough, I introduced you to him March of 2020, I believe. It was the 24-hour Nowruz live stream. It was either in 2020 or it was 2021. I saw this Iranian in Connecticut that was just rapping about Iran and the history and the culture. So if you just came across him recently, don't think that he just woke up recently and started rapping about Iran and jumping on some kind of revolutionary bandwagon. This man has been spitting rhymes about Iran and the greatness of our history and culture, and Cyrus the Great and Dariush and all that good stuff for many, many years, since he was 14 years old. He's an Iranian-American hip-hop artist. He fell in love with hip-hop back at was 15. There was a rapper named Eminem, that many of us, we loved his music, but it clearly inspired him a lot more than many of us. And then he started recording music shortly after. And then he spent many years after school and college classes practicing and developing his skills. And then noticing the lack of a good representation of the Iranian diaspora community, a lot of central themes surrounding Shaheen's music revolves around his experiences as a first-generation Iranian-American, the generational trauma that was passed down as a result of the 1979 Islamic occupation of Iran. So we're just happy that now that he's in LA, furthering his career, that he's still remembering us over here and is going to be coming and performing at the Ozadi Festival in the nation's capital, well, right outside of it, Tyson's Ship Garden, on July 3rd. So let's help me welcome Shaheen Samadi. Say hello, and help me virtually welcome Shaheen Samadi from California. There he is.
What's up, guys? What's up, bro? How you doing, man? I appreciate the kind introduction.
Yeah, of course, man. So great to see you as always. You know, I was gonna say I'm so sick and tired of seeing you only virtually, but now we have something to look forward to. July 3rd in person.
Absolutely, man. I'm so excited to be doing this. You know, like, people. You know, I'm like your friendly neighborhood Persian rapper. So when I hear that, like, you ever see like Batman as a kid, like the cartoons when like the symbols up in the sky, and that's like when they need him. Like that's you, man. Like you're putting my signals. Like, yo, we need the Persian rapper, dude.
Oh, man.
I'm like, all right, man. I'm there. I'm coming to DC. You know? Yeah.
Well, thank you for answering my call, man. You know, I was putting that spotlight up in the air, and you're answering to the call. Great, man. I appreciate you. Well, yeah. So I guess July 3rd, Tyson's is going to become Gotham City, and you're going to come and take over and do what you do best, you know?
Yes.
Well, listen, I give a little bio about you, but I wanted to come from your own words. If anybody here is not familiar with Shaheen Samadi, go ahead and give a little background so we can get that out of the way, and then we go on and talk about some exciting things we got going on.
Okay, yeah, sure. My name is Shaheen Samadi, AKA your friendly neighborhood Persian rapper. I was born and raised in Connecticut. I lived there up until I was 28 years old, and then moved to LA a little over a year ago to build my fan base in Los Angeles, since most Iranians in the US are out here. Originally that wasn't the plan. Like it just kind of happened that, you know, as I was developing my skills and craft as an MC, I started to naturally just gravitate towards the Iran stuff, like after I went to Iran in 2016. And then as a result, I developed an Iranian fan base. And after I visited LA for the first time 2 years ago, I realized that I cannot do in Connecticut what I can, you know, the things that I can do in LA, you know. So I realized that was a move to make. And, you know, here we are. So, you know, a lot of the stuff I rap about is like, you know, Persian heritage, Persian culture, some of the stuff that's been happening in Iran as well. Just all things Iran, you know what I mean? And sometimes, like, it's not even political. It could just be, like, a love song that I make, but it's still somehow, like, there's bits and pieces of my Iranianness in there that's just naturally in there due to how I grew up, you know?
Let me ask you, did you ever think about going, like, straight American mainstream, and then you're like, oh, you know what, never mind, I like the Iranian part? Or from the very beginning when you decided to rap, you were like, hey, you know what, I love Eminem, he's great, I like his style, I want to learn from him. But from the very beginning, it was more Iran-centric.
You know, to be completely honest with you, in the beginning, like, for the first, I'd say 6 or 7 years, I didn't really have the Iran vision that I have now, just because I was always a proud Iranian, but I feel like I just wasn't tapped into that potential. And it was funny because I remember back then, like, some of my American friends would be like, bro, like, I feel like you being Persian is like kind of cool, and I don't know why you don't talk about that, you know. And I just brushed it off because I was like, nah, bro, you're tripping, you know. And like, I don't know, but I think like towards the end of college, like right before I went to Iran, I had like some bar I wrote. It was like, yo, like, I'm the Persian reincarnation of Malcolm X, and someone was like, yo, that's it right there. And I don't know, ever since then, like, I studied hip hop more as like the history of it, and it's a very cultural movement. It's a very political movement, and sometimes I don't even think, even with the stuff I do now, like, I don't think it's that unique. It's just I'm just representing who I am and where I come from, you know.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that it was hard to be like into the Iranianness in Connecticut. I don't believe there's a big community over there, so I'm sure that lack of Iranian community wasn't helping it. But then I guess you went to Iran and it sparked something over there, right?
Yeah, because it was like, yo, this is who I am. You know what I mean? And like, I think me and you talked about it when you, I think you said when you were around 20 years old or something, you went to Iran, and you also had that same experience with your father. You know, rest in peace, right? That
Thank you, man.
he went to, you know, you guys went to Tafta Jamshid together, and
we went to Tafta Jamshid. It was a great experience, you know.
It's just, it's spiritual in a way, right? You're like, you feel connected to your roots. And I don't know. It's like, yo, holy crap. It's like you have all these racist people in the US talking about, oh, Iran, terrorists, sand monkeys, whatever. But then, like, you're like, look at this. This is incredible. Like, this is like our people did this. So it became like a sort of like sense of pride and joy and seeing how kind and sweet the people are over there. People I didn't even know. I'm not talking about just like my family members and
Yeah.
friends who are there. Just like people, random strangers who come up to me. And I was just heartbroken by how, like, misrepresented they are in media.
Yeah.
And I just felt like when I came back home, even though my music wasn't that great in 2016, like I felt like I just became very passionate about representing that.
So you made the big move to California, and I'm sure your parents miss you, but I'm sure you guys have ways to connect. I'm sure they have nicer weather to look forward to in the wintertime when they come to visit you now. But when you're in California, I think you were just a few months in until the revolution began, right? So tell us how the last 9 months have been being in Tehrangeles in the middle of the woman life freedom revolution.
It was definitely unexpected. I mean, tragically, like what happened to Massa happens to people every day in Iran, right? But to see like to coincidentally move to LA the same year that went down was crazy. And I remember like I went to there were actually a few protests in LA before the whole Massa tragedy happened, and I was actually depressed about it because there wasn't much of a turnout. Once the incident happened with Massa, you had like Iranians coming in the tens of thousands up in the streets,
Yeah.
and I was like, holy shit, I have never seen anything like this before in my life. Like this many Iranians in one place actually united for a change, right? It's like, holy crap, we're all putting our differences aside. We're coming together where we have a common goal. We don't care about each other's certain political views. We all have one common enemy, whatever. And that was a beautiful thing. And I feel like a lot of people in LA, Iranians, in a way, like, I mean, I feel like a lot of people became friends in the diaspora as a result, kind of, it's like you come to these protests, you meet other people who are just like you, and they've experienced the same things you have, and they have the same emotions. And I feel like a lot of the thought processes were like, where were you this whole time? Like we were all here together. And so I think it was sad. Obviously, the reason why we had to come together was tragic, but I just think like, but seeing that unity was still a very beautiful thing that I would have never seen in Connecticut.
Yeah, and you had so many great raps and music videos that was created in the last few months in honor of Massa, in honor of the revolution. And I hope that if anyone's watching is not familiar with Shaheen, make sure you go to his YouTube channel and check out the videos. Like they deserve to be watched and listened to. Like you can tell that he's putting his heart and his true feelings about what's happening in his lyrics. Shaheen, let's kind of transition to the Azadi Festival, because I still remember it was about 3-4 weeks ago, and it was coincidental that we started talking, and I kind of like stumbled upon telling you that, listen, man, we're doing this, like it's still the very beginning, but just believe me, there's going to be people coming, and we're going to be making something epic happen. But you were one of the first people that gave the thumbs up, and they're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna comment. I'd like to be a part of it. What is it about the Azadi Festival that like makes you want to get up and fly across the country and be a part of what we're collectively working on right now?
Yeah, man, I feel like we all have a part to play. You know what I mean? And I think what you're doing is very admirable, is very ambitious. Like, you're trying to bring like people, not just in the DC area, but I think even like the New York area, the Boston area, and people, in the south of DC to come up. And I think it could be huge, and it would be an honor to be a part of that. You know what I mean? I always, sometimes like before this whole revolution thing started, in September, I was always kind of complaining that like, how come Iranians who live in America, right? Why do we talk about every other political issue in America except for our own, right? Like, why do we? And don't get me wrong, of course, like, those issues are important too, right? I truly believe, but like, it bothered me so much, right? So it's actually, so one good thing I think that came out of this so far is like, we're not afraid to talk about it anymore. And that's why I want to be a part of it, contribute, listen, learn, and, meet some new Persians,
Yeah, and like one of the best things have been this group of ambassadors that we have, almost 35, 40 people. And like you were saying earlier, it's just a bunch of like-minded people. Like we're all the same, like our hurt, our anguish, our anger, our passion, it's all like together for one common goal, you know, and that is to bring out this regime. And at the same time, we're also trying to preserve all the great things that are, you know, intertwined with our culture and stuff, you know. And I love it how everybody's bringing something to the table. You're bringing it through your musical and artistic and lyrical skills. Somebody else does it through artistic painting. Somebody else does it through poetry. It's really, that's what I love about this, is that there's so many different backgrounds of people, but we're all coming together and figuring out how we can leverage each other's skills, strengths, you know, skill sets.
Man, yeah, you know, something I've always believed with this regime is their biggest goal is not necessarily, I mean, obviously to have a dictatorship and control, of course, but it's also like their biggest goal is to wipe out our culture clean.
That's right.
Right? So, I mean, like, so even though we have the opportunity, our parents, you know, we're blessed to be able to escape that. I see it as like it's an obligation at least to keep the culture alive, right?
Yeah.
I know, you know, behind the scenes we're debating on like how we should approach this event, and I think, you know, emphasizing the culture is so important just because like we have to keep it alive. Like, you know what I mean? Like my Farsi isn't that good, but like I try my best like to, you know, speak what I can. Because I honestly think, you know, like, well, if my Farsi is like this, well, how will my kids' Farsi be when I have them eventually, right? So it's like, I try to be as Iranian as I can so I can pass it, as much of it down as I can, you know?
That's right, man. We got to raise that flag and wave it, especially people like you and I who haven't ever lived. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never lived there. I went there one time for 2 weeks. I think you only visited too. So the last thing that we would want is that not only we can't pass it down to our next generation, but we also didn't experience it either. So it's like at some point, this curse has to come to an end. And we now have an opportunity to really do something about it, you know, because time is ticking. The flame is flicking, and we need to make sure that we put some more fuel on the fire. And the Azadi Festival and performances like yours is definitely going to do that. So can you give us a little bit of insight of like what you have envisioned for that day? I know I'm going to have you perform a couple of times, but like, what are you thinking? Any particular songs? We're definitely going to hear Pachama Bala, right?
Well, of course. I mean, you're going to hear my verse from it. I don't think Weapon can join us, but I want to make this a fun experience. I want people to come in having a good time. So obviously I'll do some stuff about Iran and the, you know, raise awareness and stuff. But I also want people to not just be angry when they listen to my song and go like, fuck the regime and stuff. I mean, of course, but like you also want like them to have a sense of pride. You know what I mean? Have some fun. So I was gonna do some songs like more lighthearted stuff as well. And just have a good time. As for what I like, are you asking like what I have envisioned, like for what everyone else is gonna do, like what I think it might be?
I was wondering if you can give us a little peek behind backstage, you know, like what to expect, you know.
So those of you who have not listened to my catalog, go do so. So you have an idea of who I am and like what I talk about, and you'll hear a lot of that in the festival. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's going to be a great program. 12 hours for those of you who are still not familiar with the Azadi Festival is. It starts at 1:11 p.m., goes to 1:11 a.m. And since Shaheen is coming all the way from D.C., I'm hoping that the night before he can do a little performance at our air event, which is our Sunday night events. We know Ashley is going to be performing the night before as well. But on Monday, July 3rd, we have really something prepared for all ages. It's definitely a family affair. We're going to have a whole kids corner. We're going to have people like Arsia Ruzagar doing storytelling of Shahnameh for kids. We're going to have Ashley teaching a little bit of Persian dance. We're going to have face painting, balloons, and then we're going to have a badass Sunnati room, a very immersive, artistic, traditional experience that Shiva Sagar is working on. We're going to be having a fashion show. One of our ambassadors, Eli Lakchi, is literally creating all the different outfits, and we're going to have 19 women who are going to be coming on stage, which, by the way, If you're in a DC area, or if you're a female that's coming to DC for the festival, message us. We're looking for 19 females to volunteer to be a part of this incredible fashion show, all ages. So literally female. If you're female and you would like to be a part of this, message us. It's going to be great. We're going to have poetry. We have Zohre Hashemi that's going to be doing multiple Hafiz, Sadi, Rumi poetry throughout the entire 12-hour program. We're going to have obviously DJs Kia, DJ Yazan, DJ Kaveh. We're going to be having live singing performances, musical performances. I mean, listen, it's going to be something epic. And of course, we're going to have Shaheen that's going to be performing multiple times throughout the entire day and evening. It's going to be a long day for him, but this man is in it for the long run. We're going to make sure that we capture some great footage of his performances. Tell me, Shaheen, what is your vision for a free Iran? Because we're doing all of this for a free Iran. What does a free Iran look like to you?
A country where people can kind of like do what they want and live how they want to live without government consequences, unless you're hurting someone else, of course, right? But like you know what I mean? People to believe in what they want to believe in, people to practice what you want to practice, actually be Iranian, right? And not make being Iranian such a crime, right? Because I feel like being Iranian in Iran is such a sin, right? Like this is a government that tried to outlaw Nowruz. They tried to outlaw Iranian music. They tried to, they even changed the name of certain streets into names of people that aren't even Iranian, right? So what I envision is like a patriotic Iran, obviously a free Iran where people can live freely, and also hopefully like a very well-respected nation, right, around the world.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, what are the things that bring a people together? It's usually your food, it's your music, it's your dancing, so they want to strip you away from anything that will bring you together. And that's the beauty of Azadi Festival, is that exactly the things that they try to break down and eliminate, food, the music, the culture, the poetry, all that stuff, we're bringing it right back here and we're doubling down on it. Speaking of the things that they take away from us, there's one individual, he's a massive name in the Iranian Revolution right now. He does exactly what you do, but he's been in solitary confinement for more than 200 days. Yeah. His name, Too Much Salehi. And I noticed that, just a few hours ago, you posted a great video with you on stage. You could tell people later on or right now where that was. But the quote that you had in your caption, it was, imagine someone else getting arrested for doing something you love doing every day. Singing, rapping, dancing, painting, or even holding the hand of the person you love. Tell us more about this post.
Yeah, bro. I mean, so that was taken at the show that I had on Saturday that I actually did with Ashley. Yeah. And I said that right before I performed my latest single, When I Say. And a lot of the things that we do in America that we do without even thinking, the things that we just take for granted, like a lot of those things are illegal. And if you're a woman, it could go to as the extreme of just stepping out of your house without a scarf on, right? But yeah, I mean, did you know, I don't know if people know this, but in Iran, if you're not married to the person, you are not allowed to hold this person's hand in public. I'm sure you knew that, but like, that's crazy to me. You know what I mean? And like, and I've actually heard stories of like boyfriend and girlfriend going out. They weren't even holding hands. They were just literally just together in a park or something, sitting or hanging out. And the dude got arrested, right? Just for hanging out with someone from the opposite sex. Or yeah, music. I mean, I have rapper friends in Iran. Not too much, but like, like other Iranian rappers that I actually know there who have been arrested for rapping as well. I know people who have been. Did you know even I thought I didn't post this one because I thought it was so crazy people might not believe me, but even cooking, bro, there's like they make that joke about Soleimani and like the kotlet, right? And this poor dude just happened to post like image of him making kotlet one day, and they arrested him for making
that.
That's
yes.
Nuts.
It is.
And so it's like, yo, like if you love cooking, you'll go to jail for that. Yo, this event that we're doing on July 3rd, this is a crime in Iran. This is like, it's, you know what I mean? Like it's such a harmless event where all we're doing is just coming together, having a good time, singing, dancing. And as you said, it's not even that political, right? But it's like, that's still like, this is illegal to them. It's like, no, it almost seems like they just hate humans. They hate human expression. And so I think the best way to give them the finger truly is just continue to be a human and, you know, express yourself, you know?
And the first and last time that I went to Iran, I was 20 years old, and my cousin, a female cousin, I was like 21, I think she was like maybe 19, so very close to age, and she wanted to show me around. And my uncle, her dad, he owned like a strip mall, so we went to literally her father's strip mall, you know, like just a bunch of, like a little mini mall. And so we were walking around, and a comite or one of these people with the AK-47s literally came up and said, you know, what are you guys doing? And if it wasn't for the fact that she was saying, hey, my father, Fulani Fulani, that was it. Like, for me, that was just like mind blowing. I was like, I couldn't believe that, like, we're literally just, imagine walking in a regular mall in LA and you're just with your cousin and you're actually getting interrogated with somebody with the AK-47, and like you have to explain or show papers that say that you're not, like, I don't know, you're family or something. So I totally get it. I mean, it's just a wild experience that 80 million of our compatriots have to experience on a day-by-day basis, and that's what we're trying to free them from, you know?
That's not like what they're doing. Like, that's not Iranian culture. It's like, I know like a lot of like well-meaning non-Iranians who live out here in the West, they have this belief that, oh, you know, maybe that's just their culture, they're more conservative. Like, no, this is not our culture.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes non-Iranians are a little nervous to kind of help us talk about it because they're afraid of coming off as intolerant or something like that, you know? I'm like, well, listen, like, I mean, like, this is not our culture at all. Like, these people are actually like destroying our culture and embarrassing us and misrepresenting us and killing us. And
yeah, man, I just a couple of days ago, I saw like there's a YouTube video of like somebody basically talking about what's going on in Iran, the atrocities. Some commentator made a comment saying, dude, just let them be, man. Stop like butting like in their business. I was like, hey, what are you talking about? I'm an Iranian. I'm telling you, we need to talk about this kind of stuff. This is not okay. Yeah. We're not okay with it. This is not freedom. Like, you're right. Some people are truly thinking that they should not be impeding on other people's culture, thinking that that's literally what the people want, when in reality, it's been 44 years of hell. So...
And I think this is like when the politics gets a little complicated, and like a lot of, well, you know, people who, you know, and I say this as someone who leans left on most political issues, but, you know, it's so more like they don't want to, that they're afraid that if they speak against a regime that they might be enabling like imperialist agendas and stuff, which isn't always the case. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of nuance in the world.
Of course. Yeah. Definitely. Well, Shaheen, man, all I can say is I'm grateful that you decided to be a part of the Azadi Festival. I have no doubt the performances are going to be great, and anyone there that had never seen you perform, they're going to be pretty impressed. I can't wait to see you perform live. I mean, if it's even 1/10 of how great I appreciate your videos and the content that you make, I'm sure you're gonna knock it out of the park, and we're looking forward to it. And equally important, thanks for not just being a performer, but by being an ambassador, somebody that's actually participating in the group chats, joining the video calls, sharing your feedback, ideating, strategizing, and making sure that this event is great for the people, not just in DC, but the ones globally that's going to be joining the virtual live stream. So, yeah, man, I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. If you don't mind, maybe after this interview, we can talk a little bit about like some of the stuff happening next month. And
yes.
Awesome.
Sure. We have to worry about the Miami Heat game, and we're going to be posting the new promo. But yeah, of course, I'll make time for you anytime, man.
I'll talk to you soon, brother. Right. Peace, love.
Good night, man. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that was Shaheen Samadi, one of the performers at the July 3rd Azadi Festival. Be sure to click the link in my bio for more information, for more tickets. If you think that this is something that you want to get behind, if it's something that you want to be able to support, if it's something that you believe is worth supporting, If you click the link in my bio, there's a little thing that says 4 ways that you can support the Azadi Festival, and you can support the more than 40 ambassadors that are working day and night to unite and strengthen our community. The 4 ways is very simple. You can either do a financial contribution, because God knows we need more funding to put on a better show, better production, in person, online. It's pretty damn amazing what the hell we're doing. The more funding, the better production. 2, you can become a vendor. It's an Iranian bazaar type of festival. We're looking for all Iranian business owners, entrepreneurs that are creating something that is very like Iranian centric. So if you have something that that you want to present, like for example, let's say you make ties that have Iranian patterns and beautiful things, that's something great. If you are making Iranian jewelry, if you're making Iranian clothing, you know, just something that represents our culture, those are the type of vendors that we're looking for. So we're very specific on who we're looking for. Or you can become an ally. What's an ally? You're like, hey, you know what? I want to promote this event and I want to share it with everybody in my network. We can create some very cool Azadi Festival template style promotional material with your name on it that says you're an ally. You're basically putting a stamp of approval on this event. Or you can be an ambassador like Shaheen is, where you are basically not just promoting the event, but you're also involved in our WhatsApp group chat that's 40 people plus right now, where we're constantly just trying to strategize all the different elements of producing an epic event for the whole community. So if you want to become an ambassador, an ally, a contributor, or a vendor, click the link in my bio. There's some more information over there, or just message me. This event is only going to be as successful as the community that wants to support it. The more the community supports it, the better the event, the more impact.